Hey guys, this is John. One of the more misused features in Battlefield games have been land vehicles. A lot of players will often just use them to swiftly get to a checkpoint and bail on it as soon as they get there without trying to figure out how they can use the vehicle to their advantage. I'll try to give you some quick tips to assist you in understanding just how much potential the land vehicles have in Battlefield 1 and how you can optimize their use. Players have the land vehicles at their disposal pretty much immediately on spawn, unless you're in a map like Argonne Forest that is scarce of any vehicles. But usually a player can find something not far from where they are. While tanks may pose the most useful of the land vehicles, depending on your preference of course, the motorcycles and armored cars can still be valuable assets to master. Motorcycles are the most prone to area of effect damage and standard gunfire, as it isn't protected in any way with armor or anything like that. However, if you have a teammate in the sidecar helping with defensive fire, it can be a terribly useful asset to at least help pester your enemies. I would argue that the motorcycle is probably the most ideal vehicle from just getting from point A to point B, but if you and an ally can master the natural evasive nature of the motorcycle while still laying some hurt on an enemy squadron, go for it. Just keep in mind that motorcycles have an extreme weakness of being unarmored and an instant target for tanks or planes. The M30 scout cars are the next step up from the motorcycles, but pose more of a threat than their two-wheeled counterparts. The scout cars resemble sort of an early Jeep from World War II and is still nimble for a four-wheeled vehicle. It has a single mounted machine gun on the back that is great for suppressing enemy fire when trying to make it across larger maps like the Sinai Desert. The biggest downfall of this vehicle is just how weak it is. If you choose to plant your scout car in one position and try to solo fire from the machine gun, you're setting yourself up to get wrecked by an enemy, whether by plane or infantry. That being said, as long as the driver is consistently moving the vehicle away from tanks or bombers, this car is great for taking out enemy planes or laying out fire around a checkpoint and helping to scramble infantry while other squads move in to kill the distracted players. Next are the RNAS armored cars, and you can think of them as beefier, more armored versions of the scout car. The armored car has a place for 5 players, one for the driver and 4 gunner positions. The second position having a top-mounted heavy machine gun and the other 3 positions having light machine guns. This vehicle is classified as a light armored vehicle, but can still sustain a decent amount of damage before the driver needs to find a place to lay low and dish out some repairs. However, one well-planned anti-tank grenade or bomber drop can take these vehicles out swiftly. The armored car is excellent for quickly rushing to an objective and laying down suppressive fire while another squad files in from behind to lock down key areas of the checkpoint. If you're catching a lot of flak from the skies, try to get the armored car in between buildings while you make any necessary repairs. Just like the heavy tank, this vehicle is great for rushing into a checkpoint and coordinating an attack with all 5 soldiers inside to surprise the enemy and take swift control of an objective. Next up, we have the Anti-Aircraft Truck. This thing may as well be a cousin to the light tank, as it comes with its own kit and it can take 2 or 3 direct shots from light tank's point-blank range without blowing up. The truck comes mounted with a light machine gun that can be controlled in a limited range while you are in control of the vehicle, and a mounted cannon that disables the truck while you operate it on option 2. The truck has 2 gadgets, a lightning repair function and a smoke grenade, which work the same as the gadgets on the light tanks. This vehicle is perfect for infiltrating an objective and laying out some distraction for your squadron to follow behind. Because this vehicle is beefy and repairable, it makes it a great contender for an objective that is being dominated by enemy tanks. These vehicles may not be as popular as the tanks, but they can still be used to counter an enemy objective or bring on the hurt to infantry, rather than just being used as a means of transportation from point to point. I challenge you to give any of these land vehicles a try the next time you are in-game, and let us know what your strategy you use to get the upper hand on your adversaries. You're watching esports on PvP Live.